YouTube because I forgot to take the bloody thing out, didn't I? Damn it. Hi, sorry guys on YouTube. How are you doing? Sorry, I've had to take my headphones out, so that's why it was muted. Goodness. All right. Well, yeah. All right. Well, why did nobody else tell me? You know, it's like just freaking useless, aren't they? A lot of people they just don't even tell you. It's like it took a few minutes for someone to even tell me that I'm friggin' muted. Hi, Joes. How you doing? I hope you're well tonight. Yeah, if anybody's new here, make sure you give me a follow. So I need to try and get some content out on YouTube because if I can get enough views over time, I can get like the ad revenue coming in. So I'm hoping that, I can try and get some videos that actually do well and it translates into money then. I believe you were contemplating on moving the last chat I saw. Well, it's because there was this woman who turned out to actually be a psycho, and it was, yeah, that wasn't actually that wasn't happening. So yeah, that was around the time where all that chaos was going on, and yeah, but I don't want to keep going over that because it's whatever, just it's a lesson learned, I suppose, isn't it? It's a life lesson. It's you learn from these things, I suppose. So you got to try and take the positive from the negative. Yeah, I Josu, because things happen and then just like yeah. But what I want to say tonight, I just had this thought earlier because you get people saying that, for example, that because if someone has authority, let's say someone has experience in something, then therefore there's some kind of authority on it. Yeah, you was the only one that said I was muted, even though there was like 10 in there at one point or 12. I don't know, but anyway, thank you for following me. So there's this thing of like, the whole thing of people say, oh, if I've experienced this, therefore it's true. Well, maybe it's true for you, but people then try to push that onto people as like that's some kind of objective fact, which is completely fallacious. Hello, Fat Muppet. Not too bad, thank you. How are you doing? Yeah, so it's completely fallacious, and people like, so doing this thing of like, and then there's the other way around where if someone hasn't experienced something, therefore people will be like, oh well, you can't talk about that because you haven't experienced it. What's my view on democracy as real? I think that yeah, I mean, in an ideal world we'd have a true democracy where we as a society decide how things go, but unfortunately, you know the system has got us by the balls and it basically yeah. Anyway, hi Jack. Someone else did. I couldn't tell if you was just doing something. Sorry, what do you mean? Not too bad, mate. That's good to hear. Who's more early wrong, Bunny Blue or the men in the queue? Um, yeah, it's a good question. I would probably say that it's kind of equal. But yeah, I think that it's yeah. Now you could argue it's the men because it's the thank you for following tomorrow. How you doing tomorrow? Hello, easy. Hope you well. So I was just saying now, like, when people say, oh, well, you can't talk about that because you haven't experienced it. But I think the problem is that, thank you for the rose, Harry, that sometimes when people have experienced something, they're maybe not the person that you should actually listen to because sometimes they have biases. Sometimes experience can give you a biased opinion on something. So yeah, I really agree with what you're saying right now about the presumptions people have. Yeah, this is the thing is that people will dismiss you if you haven't experienced it, and then when people have experienced something, they expect others to you know to fall in line with that just because they've experienced one thing. Like for example, somebody might have an experience in dating and be like, "Oh, I got heartbroken because I did this and that and whatever," but then they then go and tell others that. I think it's dangerous, and people need to just kind of. I don't know. I think that yeah, it's important. It's important to listen to people's experiences, but I think we should be, looking at it as a whole and not just your experience. Like your experience is what matters the most. Like it's just, you know, um, but yeah, how we doing, everybody? Oh, thank you, Brian. Yeah, how you doing, Brian? Hope you're well tonight. So, yeah, the whole main character syndrome, I think, is a big part of it. It's this whole thing of like, thinking that they're in is therefore, anybody else's opinion doesn't matter because, oh, I've experienced this. It's like with, like diets and things like that. When someone says, oh, I experienced this on the carnivore diet, therefore you should do that. It's like, no, there's a lot of people who have bad experiences on it. I'm not going to say that any side of those are wrong. That the truth is that diets, work differently for different people. But someone could have an experience with something and then be, kind of, they can be quite, what is it, biased from that. So if you have an experience of something, you need to make sure that you don't just that doesn't skew your perceptions of things. Thank you for the, I guess, Mike. Nice one. I'm gonna get some music on for you guys over on TikTok. Unfortunately, the people on YouTube won't be able to hear it, but because of how I've got it set up. But yeah, my point is that yeah, like someone shouldn't just be dismissed if they haven't got an experience either, because they might just kind of, well, they might have some common sense and things like that, and they might just also just have like that they've just taken on different opinions, different people hearing, different, testimonies, and kind of like they're less biased oftentimes. So now, if someone just has like an opinion on something or whatever, and then they're basing it on nothing other than just hearsay, then that can be bad. Now, compiling different bits of research together from different testimonials, from different, science studies potentially, or things like that, um, to get a more informed opinion, as well as things such as just logic and common sense, and mixing things like that together to get a broader picture on things, really. So yeah, um, there's just but yeah, I think the whole main character syndrome is a yeah. Hi, Scroll. Hope you're well. Hello, Fahim. How you doing? It's like when people assume that you have autism just because you don't think drinking alcohol is cool or a normal thing to do. Yeah, yeah. I don't drink alcohol and I'm autistic, but I do agree with that because yeah, it's like just because you don't follow society that then they think you're autistic or something. But it's almost like their way of trying to shame you and be like, oh well, you must be some weirdo or something because you don't think that what we're doing is good. You know, you might say, well, it's a normal thing to do because that's what society does. I guess what we normal is what based on like a consensus or something of like what society does, it what the majority do. That's kind of like what's seen as normal. But yeah. Anyway, hope you're all doing well. But when you really think about it, alcohol is just it's actually a depressant, and it's actually something that oftentimes it's going to just sort of whatever you're feeling, whatever anxieties and stuff. Yeah, it can help to alleviate that for some people, but in the long run, it's like it's just going to perpetuate the misery that you have, and yeah, for a lot of people. So it's like we can't just tell people that, oh well, that, oh, just go and have a drink. If you're not, oh, why don't you just go and have a drink then if you're not confident? Because if because to me that is really not a good thing to be saying to people then, because if they're then depending on that for confidence, they can become kind of alcoholic dependent then, which is quite dangerous to be in that situation, because they'll then start to depend on it anytime they feel the need to be confident in a situation. It can become addictive. because once they get the taste of that, confidence, then they might just start to do it, you know, regularly. It can, be, yeah. I think if you aren't a sheep and you stand out your normal or yourself because you don't try to fit in or be anything else for others. Yeah, it's just people try and just like be these chameleons and stuff, and yeah, it's hiding your real self is what you're doing. Is you're trying to just kind of yeah, you're just trying to. It's all about trying to forget who you are and kind of. I mean, I've never had enough to get drunk. You know, I just don't see the point. I'm like, because I kind of see it as like, well, you know, if you're needing it for whatever, whether it's to be happy or whether it's to, get rid of anxieties and things like that, then you have issues that you got to deal with. You have to face these things. To me, it's just a way to kind of escape reality and escape all your problems. But when you wake up, they're still there, and it's just, and they reckon actually for some people, alcohol can actually magnify some of these problems actually as well. They say that it can magnify the good and bad. So, yeah, yeah. What advice would you give to your younger self? I think to like, you know, is to just kind of like focus on something long enough, focus on something long and hard enough, because doing random things and it's just not going to yield you the results. You have to have the, like the, what is it, the perseverance. I only get tipsy when I go out, fair enough, but it's just some people just don't know when to stop. That's the thing. But I suppose the good thing is I've heard that a lot of younger people aren't doing it anymore, but I used to like it a lot for social anxiety. It helped me feel more relaxed to be myself. I'm just saying that, I mean, maybe some people may feel the need to take a bit, but I'm saying that, like, but yeah, it's not the solution because, like I said, if you've got, deeper issues that you need to face that, you can't just, you know, if you've got like anxiety, if it's from something, for some people, it's like, it's from childhood or something like that. It could be from being bullied as a child. It could be, thank you for like Steve. It could be from childhood neglect. Sort of. It could be from childhood abuse, even. And if you've not, addressed these issues, then all you're doing is you're just putting a band-aid over it. And it's like people are using it as like a medication, which I think is dangerous to do that. And I think that some of the like neurodivergent people can actually use alcohol in quite high quantities for that reason that they maybe they have some unresolved issues, and in some cases the neurodiverse people might deal with it worse. And but these things need to be resolved, I think, before looking at these sort of solutions, really. But anyway, thank you for the hello, Pippa. How you doing? Because of their parents, they may do it. Yeah, there is that of like, people copying behaviors of other family members and stuff. But I think that we need to just be kind of cautious how we kind of, what kind of example you're going to, give to your children. Because you got to think it's like when you've got these, parents eating pizzas and McDonald's all the time, because then the kids are going to want all that stuff, aren't they? I kind of see it as like if you can't like, it's like I don't even think these people should have kids if they're gonna, bring them up to be like obese. You see these like what is it called, like like these foodies that like these. How we doing? Hello, Ellie. Hope you well. Yeah, I don't have kids. I'm just saying that if someone you know is gonna bring kids into the world, then they need to be you know. I think they should be trying to set a good example, eat healthy food, exercise, things like that. Thank you for like Marjo, because otherwise they then start taking on those behaviours and then become sick before they've even got to adult. I think there was one. I remember there was one that they got so sick that they ended up having some like knee issues or something because of all that weight that they were pushing on it, which I think is just absolutely yeah, it's just absolutely just disgusting how they've let them get to that point where they'd actually like that. Mine eat loads and they're slim still. I mean, I guess it depends on what type of food they're eating and stuff like that. But if they're being fed all this ultra processed crap, then it's easy to overeat on that kind of stuff. I don't think they should be given any of that stuff, to be honest, or very rarely. I mean, because it could be quite easy to overeat on that sort of stuff, really. Whereas if you feed them lots of like healthy food, then it's hard to overeat. It's hard to overeat on say like a boiled potato versus eating chips. That's going to be full of oil. For example, it's totally different because you're adding probably hundreds of calories to that just by adding oil. For example, hello Rocco, how's it going? So it's all about kind of yeah, the actual food itself. I mean, you can eat loads of like, healthy foods and stuff like that, and I don't exactly know what you feed your kids, but if they're fed, food that's relatively low in calories, then yeah, they're probably not gonna get fat off that unless they're eating copious amounts of it. Um, but yeah, I hope everyone's well today. So I don't know. But obviously, everyone's got different metabolisms. If they're exercising a lot, then they're able to burn those calories off more. But if they're being fed loads of crap and then they're not exercising enough, they're not burning it off. So it's all about energy balance at the end of the day. But because someone can't just get pile on a bunch of fat by accident, I don't think that happens. It's just this has happened over years of just being fed a bunch of toxic crap. These could end up having literally childhood diabetes and stuff if it's that bad. Like Nicky, you've seen like the rates of diabetes now that people have or something. It's crazy. It's all this ultra processed foods and stuff that people are eating, and they're not exercising enough. A lot of them. So it's great that less people are drinking alcohol, but on the other hand, there's a lot of people that are actually getting unhealthy from the modern lifestyle. So yeah, it's just one of those things, really. But oh well, it is what it is. Anyway, if anybody's new here, make sure you give me a follow. That would be really appreciated. Um, Emily says, I think it's financial. But in that case, again, yeah, if you haven't got the money, you shouldn't be having kids, I don't think, you know? Because why would you want to bring someone into this world that you can't even afford? Like, I think there's a lot of like selfish people out there that just make reckless decisions. I'm not being funny, but yeah, like if I don't have the money to do so, I wouldn't be doing it. It's like, what are they doing? It's like they're just acting like they're just a bunch of I don't know, just a bunch of apes or something. I don't know. It's very primal and very selfish and just I don't know. So even if it's financial, I still think that you know, can they not learn to cook or something? Like learn to cook. It's like even if we're going about that, okay, can you not like learn how to make healthy recipes that are quite easy to cook and quite cheap to cook? Because some of the healthiest foods are actually cheap. If you just find the cheapest ingredients, like oftentimes they're quite healthy, like um, just making different soups with like lentils and things like that. Barley, lots of different, just like staple ingredients and things like that. Hi Danielle, I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you doing? So, hello, Jamie. Of course, I understand that some people have work, they have to like, priorities and stuff, but your child is your priorities. They should be, fed healthy food that's nourishing their bodies. They're getting enough vitamins, minerals, etc. They're getting enough fiber. They're getting, it's like we need to be prioritizing that. And but yeah, but I just feel like I still think that a lot of these people are selfish, and they should, be looking after their children. And like I said, if they can't afford them, they shouldn't have had them in the first place, you know, or they should give them to someone that can actually like bring them up properly. Um, you know, but it is what it is, isn't it? It's just yeah. All right, let's get a song on, shall we? Let's see, put this one on. I know this is my opinion. It's like, people can feel free to disagree, but it's like we need to look at the parents and like, what are you doing? You know, how have you let this get to that point? Surely you could find something better for your kids to eat than McDonald's every night. In fact, some of this food that they're feeding their kids isn't actually that cheap, because if it's processed, then well, obviously then it's had to be like kind of, you know, cost a certain amount of money to process that food. Whereas if it's unprocessed, it's probably actually cheaper. And yeah, if you just make simple meals and just like how much does, oats and lentils and things like that cost? Brown rice costs the same as white rice. It's just get them on that stuff early so they don't have all the kind of like crap. It's just yeah. It's like I think you could say it's education. A lot of it, people don't know any better, so there could be some of that. But I think that you have a duty to educate yourself, though. You have a duty to educate yourself on nutrition and things if you're going to have kids. I think. Why are you asking me if I have kids now? Like that has anything to do with anything? Like I don't have any. I'm just saying that if if I did, then I wouldn't be feeding them crap. I wouldn't be. I wouldn't if I wouldn't be broke that I couldn't even afford to give them good food. Like I said, most of that stuff is, you know, but you was this person who would just come in and just make these kind of comments and stuff and try to just be whatever. So I don't think you're really being serious. Anyway, because it's just there's just way too many like obese children. It's just not right, and something needs to be done. Because how they are early in life is going to be more likely to definition of freedom. Why? What made you say that? What made you ask that? Anyway, hope you're all well tonight. I mean, freedom comes in many forms, I would say, whether it be financial freedom, whether it be location freedom, whether it be time freedom, you know, whether it be freedom of choice, whether it be freedom to um, there's many different, ways of defining freedom, but I think that it's about having it as a whole. I think if you truly, to be truly free means to, people give you a hard time to, like, whatever, it's just people are just gonna, say what they'll say, but, like people try to find some way to try and discredit me or whatever. It's like, for example, someone might then go and say, I don't know if they were trying to get to that point of being like, oh, well, if you haven't had kids, then you can't say anything. It goes back to the original point I made in this live, where I said, just because someone hasn't experienced something, therefore, doesn't mean that what they're saying is not true or not valid. And now, autism spectrum, Hajar. Hello, What's this? Loud edits. Hope you're doing well. Good evening to you. Hope you've had a great day. What's this? I don't think you have autism. You're probably just normal. I have a diagnosis, so yeah, it's been a long time. I was only about 4 or 5 years old when I got the diagnosis, so yeah, I wouldn't really say I'm normal, but anyway, hello, Diane. I never really felt like I fit in with anybody really, so hardly. Yeah, I mean, like, so yeah, I overthink things, but I think that's also you know, that's also a part of autism as well. I think is overthinking. I think that's like but it's I don't know. I think it was something to do with just things that I was like about, I think my grammar actually was being like repetitive and stuff like that. Mm, yeah, yeah. So it said overthinking or perseverative cognition is common in autism due to a need for something's gonna work, I tend not to do it. Hello, Lisa. Hope you're well. Yeah, I tend to shy away from things. I just hello, Kathleen. Sorry. Yeah, it's going all right. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, been making progress. Yeah, I did some. I did a deadlift yesterday, 140 kilograms. That was without using any straps or anything. Hello, Dami Lola. How you doing? Hope you're doing well tonight. If anybody's new here, make sure you give me a follow. So yeah, just right. So that's just hello Willow. Good to see you again. I hope you're well. Um, but I'm just like a person that needs that certainty. Thank you for follow Dami Lola. I need to be reassured. I need to be like shown evidence. Okay, this is the roadmap. This is how it's going to be done, and how it is definitely going to happen. You know, I need to know. Otherwise, I'm just not going to invest in it whatsoever. I'm kind of like going to pan out sort of thing. That's how I am. And people just need to accept that. And it's like there's someone in the chat that just feels like they're not accepting of that, and they're just kind of, say, oh, well, maybe you don't need to, know. It's like, well, then I'm not going to. Then that's fine. You know, if I can't be given certainty, then why would I invest my time into it? You know, because I don't know if the juice is going to be worth the squeeze or not. Then I put myself time into something that I know is going. Like I put my time into working out because I know that if I work out, I'm going to get results. If I do everything right, it's like a sort of, it can't go wrong if you do everything right. You get enough sleep, you get everything, all the, what is it called? Everything dialed in. It can't go wrong. So I don't believe in diagnosis. I have an ADHD diagnosis, but I've realized nobody knows what it is. No one knows what they're talking about. We think that the symptoms is the sickness itself. Yeah, I mean, I could see what you're saying, but yeah, thank you for all happy. But I mean, we can see certain symptoms, and then, but whatever we want to put the name to it, it's like there's a phenomenon. Thank you for the follow to your house. Now we could talk about childhood traumas and things like that, generational trauma, whatever. We can talk about because nobody knows exactly what causes a lot of this stuff, but like exact mechanisms. But it's like we can't just dismiss. I think the point is that sometimes people will just go, "Oh, you don't have problems." Well, how do they know that? Hi, Zach. It's just yeah, I don't know, but anyway, but it's like well then there was this Asperger's syndrome thing which I kind of got lumped in with that. I think with like this group that I went to where there was a lot of people with that kind of more milder kind of autism symptoms. Um, but yeah, I hope everyone's well tonight. I live in York, Kathleen. Hey, Donald Trump. Anyway, what's that? ADHD is just not being connected with your subconscious. When you realize this, it's quite apparent why it creates the problems that it does. I don't know because like I don't. I mean, I don't want to just like say that what you say is true because I don't know. Yeah, I just got it down to like a stubble now. But hi, Taryn. Hope you've been doing well. I'm doing fine, thank you. Not seen you in here much lately, but hope you've had a great day today. If anybody's new here, make sure you give me a follow. That would be really appreciated. So yeah, it's just I don't know, like people say stuff that they don't know anything about. So what's the crack then? Yeah, hello, Scott Chegg. Yeah, I have. Thank you. You're welcome. So yeah, just keep the chat flowing, people. Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you, Sir Louise. Yeah, just trying to just stay positive, But anyway, it's like I don't know. Like, I mean, I can't really say that in every case of ADHD that that's the case. Not being connected to your subconscious. But what causes somebody to not be connected to their subconscious then? Like what causes that then? And how do they, sort um, more, I mean, just like, what do you mean to find a job? A lot of it's just a numbers game, really, and just try not to like, you know, be anxious and stuff if you can. But um, I remember there was this guy that said that he would struggle on the interview and he took a beta blocker to get rid of the anxiety. But I'm not saying that everyone should do that. But thank you for the follow, Jane. But I'd say if you're struggling with actually finding a job, then it's like go down to like the job center or something. I don't know. Yeah, I get that bored. Yeah, I'm saying like I don't want to do anything boring, but you don't have any skills. Maybe it's time to learn some skills, perhaps. What kind of skills would you want to learn? Whether it be trades, whether it be like performing arts or anything like that. If you practice for 6 to 12 months or something, just like consistently every day, then you might be able to get to the point where you're good enough to then start make some kind of business out of it, perhaps. Um, what's that? When you are connected with your subconscious, it activates the prefrontal cortex, and you can feel it when it happens. When it's been basically turned off your whole life, you don't notice it. You just notice the problems. So why is it that in certain people it's switched off and certain people it's not? Then, like, what is it with those people who? Because it seems as though like some of my family have like definitely got some issues. It's like my mum's got an autism diagnosis now. Also, her sister has an autism diagnosis now as well. So there does seem to be some hereditary thing going on there. I don't know, but thank you for the follow, sexy Ashley. And even my mother's family, a lot of her like her parents and stuff, and there seems to be some issues going on there. So um, yeah. So I don't know, guys. It's yeah. Anyway, hope you're having a great day today, people. Yeah. I'm hoping I can just ride this new bike because it's a road bike. It's quite like narrow wheels and it was quite hard to get the balance. So it's gonna take some practice. I have to go slow on it, so I'm not like at first. I think get the hang of that. But yeah. So yeah, I tend to be like that where I just notice problems a lot of the time. I don't know what that's all about, but I'd just be like focus a lot on the problems, and then even when people give me solutions, then I'd try to then find problems in their solutions, and then they'd give solutions to that. Then I'd try to find problems in that. It's just like an excuse just to procrastinate and just like not do anything. But it's like I need to have 100% clarity. I think it's just I'm trying to look for any potential like thing that could go wrong, and until I feel like I'm 100% certain um, that nothing could go wrong and that things are going to work out. So without that clarity, that certainty, I don't tend to, you know, but yeah. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well. It's like I'd be quite reluctant at like putting a lot of money down to a business that I don't know is going to work out. For example, I'll end up losing money. I thought they said something like a certain percentage of business, like 80% of businesses fail within the first 3 months or something like that. Not sure on the exact statistics, but it's quite a high dropout rate on businesses, startup businesses and things. It's just, yeah. So it can make you feel like, well, um, like you just keep going on about. It's like, I mean, that's all you come in and saying here. It's like it's just kind of weird. Anyway, so yeah, I tend to like look for problems a lot of the time. Like my mind will just be focused on problems and things. But yeah, it depends on how your mental is programmed and how your system absorb info. But it's basically just that you're blocked in a way. It's very far out knowledge, though, right? Okay, I don't know because if it's some kind of like conspiracy theory stuff, then I'd be reluctant to believe in that stuff because it's like I said, there's been some kind of stuff that where people will come up with some theories on stuff, and then turns out it's a lot of BS. It's like when people were coming out with BS cancer cures, for example, and stuff like that, and then later on, it's like okay, that's a lot of BS. I don't know, but yeah, hope you're all well tonight, people. Anyway, welcome in here. Let's get the show out if you can. Hello, come in. How's it going? Yeah, just tapping away, guys. Hi, Candy. Hello, Phil. Uh, I know how you doing. Hope you're well, Kat. How you doing tonight? Hope you've had a great day. Thank you for the likes, everybody. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just yeah, this overthinking is shit, really. But yeah, I don't know. But it is what it is. I think it's just a way. It's like a protection mechanism, but it's kind of like a dysregulated one where yeah, where it's like we can be afraid of things that it doesn't make any sense. Well, there's nothing to be afraid of, and I'm like, it's just frustrating because I could just take my own advice. Or we talk about like fear is false evidence appearing real, but then I don't even take my own advice, you know, where it's like because there's some blockage or something, and I don't know. A lot of it's just lack of confidence or something, and I mean, I have a lot of confidence in some ways, but then my confidence can be easily knocked as well. So you should search about to find out because it's actually how our biology is connected with our psychology. Right. Okay. Thank you for the follow, Jasmine. How you doing, Jasmine? I hope you're well tonight. Yeah. Yeah. How you doing, Jasmine? Welcome into my live. Hope everyone's well tonight. Let's get this straight out if you can. That would be really appreciated. Yeah. Thank you for follow the bond dance. Kathleen says, well, I'm very spiritual and I am getting in touch with Reiki, which is energy healing, and it's good to know what chakras on you that are blocked or have little energy flowing through. Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's something maybe I should look into about like, yeah, like spiritual healing or something. But thank you for the show, Tony. It's just when people start talking about spirituality, I start to kind of like, I don't know, my eyes start to roll a bit because I'm thinking it's some kind of like mystical kind of crap that has no basis in reality. It's like, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway. Hi, Lem Lem. Hope you're well tonight. Where's everybody? Anyway, it's very, very quiet here. But, yeah, I hope you're all doing well tonight. Anyway, but yeah, I need to like just stop. Yeah, just thinking like I do, but it's just it's just hard because like like I said, this need for clarity, this constant need for clarity, just living in like kind of wonder and just like it's just like unpredictability and yeah. So I focus on things like like say fitness, for example. That because like with fitness, I can so like I need that though, Mike. I need to have some kind of direction. I need to have some like okay, this is I do this, and this in this order. Like, of course, otherwise I'm just going to feel lost. You know, got to create your own road. Well, you create your own roadmap, but there needs to be some level of certainty to that. Because if I don't believe that it's going to lead anywhere, then I'm not going to put all my time into that. I don't know. Yeah, or Grazina. It's like I need to have some kind of like definite thing of like, okay, I do this, this, and this, and that gets me to this result. That might be why I love maps and things like that so much. Like reading maps and geography was one of the things I used to like. I still do. It's like because there's a certain level of like kind of structure to it in a sense of like, okay, well, if I go this way and turn this way, that leads me to this way into this town. That sort of thing. So it's just I think that's another thing of like why some autistic people they tend to like trains a lot because of the predictability of them and like the times and the stations and things like that. Thank you for the follow success. There's a certain structure to it, and without structure, like the autistic brain just doesn't seem to be able to function very well. It's just society is not really built for people like that. Hello, millionaire Marion. Hope you're well. Um, Most people who talk about spiritual things are ex normies and should keep their mouths shut, in my opinion. Why? I think it's just, but again, it goes back to the whole thing of just because you got some kind of experience, it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's going to experience that. So, look, millionaire from Nigeria, had success. Hope you well tonight, people. It's like people have their own subjective experiences, but is it objective though? I mean, so we've got to be a bit careful what we. It's like when someone talks about synchronicities, like you might have a certain synchronicity, but does that necessarily mean that the universe is trying to like tell you something or whatever? It's like, I mean, we can, put meaning on different things, but is there some objective meaning? It's like, but I'd rather not just say definitively that that's the case, unless I know for certain. I don't know for certain things. I tend to be deal with logic and facts and things like that. And when I don't have certainty, then it's all kind of to me, it's all just speculation and just a belief. So anyway, is everybody all right? Nice to meet you all. Good evening to you, Vicky. Hope you're well. Hope you've all had a great day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Welcome in to the live. Hello, Nat Fianzi. How you doing? Thank you for the follow. Goes to room. Can you not spam the chat, please? I'm all right, thank you, Vicky. Just chilling with you guys. Try looking into clearing your second chakra. The way you do it is you chant VAM 108 times every day. It's very easy to find this on the internet already. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Hello, at Seed. How you doing? Hello, Roshana. How's it going? Why 108 times? Why not 107 or 109? Hello, Aurora. Sorry, Aurora. How you doing? Hope you're well tonight. Yeah. Welcome to my live, everybody. If you're new here, make sure you give me a follow. That'd be really appreciated. Yeah. I've been kind of feeling a bit sort of like, I don't know, like I've lost direction. I don't know, I just feel kind of lost at the moment. Like, I've been a bit kind of, hello, Judith, I hope you're well. Because I thought things were going a certain way, and then I was like, okay, maybe it isn't going that way then. And I've just been feeling confused and just like lost. Hi, Caitlin. But that's not what I'm looking for. And I would feel, like I'm not really living my purpose doing that. So goodbye. You just keep coming here and just, I'm not interested. I'm trying to find my purpose in life. Oh, thank you, Caitlin. People trying to just like give me like advice like that, and it's just annoying because, like I said, I'm not really suited for most of these jobs, especially like where I'd be working for somebody else. Because I'm looking into like self-employment, having my own business and things like that. Because that's true to me. That is true to what I believe in, and it's just the thing is nowadays even that people are struggling to even get a job. Thank you for the follow, Super Goddess. It's like people can be applying to hundreds of jobs and not land a single one, and even if they do, it could be something they absolutely hate. So there's no guarantee that you're even going to get a job that's even any good that pays well enough to even justify it. You know. Well, yeah. Princess, welcome back. How you doing? Hope you're doing well tonight. And that might sound very like entitled or whatever, but again, it comes down to like I need to like okay, fat muppet, but it's like I need to have there needs to be some justification for me to do anything. So unless I feel justified, okay, take care, Emily. Unless I feel justified in it, then I'm not going to do it. Like, but it's going to yield me results that are worth it. That's worth the effort. Otherwise, I just will be like, oh well, forget it then. And then that might be a bad trait to have, but because it can block certain opportunities, you could say. Um, Hi, Violet, how you doing? Hope you're well. And it's another one of these black dot accounts, isn't it? That figures, doesn't it? I think it's just some people don't like it when you're trying to just go against the norm. It's like I'm not a normal person. I'm not. I don't believe in being normal and just going along with society because I'm here to stand out. I'm not here to just be like everybody else. To me, that's just boring. You know. Oh yeah, Kelly. It's yeah. Thank you for the hot me, Josh. I'm here to stand out. I'm not here to just be an NPC. That's what everybody else is in society, pretty much. it's almost like the autistic people are not the NPCs kind of thing. I don't know. Thank you for the follow up, Besto. In some ways, it can be good. Like I said the other day, that there is advantages to it. I think there's a thing of like, if you really have a passion for something, that's sort of like the hill you'll die on kind of thing. You'll always stand for that thing. You might have a certain, belief or something like that, and you will defend that to the death. Not very many people were willing to do that in society, especially neurotypicals, if you will. They tend to just kind of, not very have very strong um, affinity to anything you could say, whether it's a person, whether it's they just have this very kind of, you know, fleeting kind of, just very sort of just superficial level of connection to anything, which is Whereas maybe for people like me, there was the search for something deeper, something more meaningful. Um, yeah, yeah, because I think that there is some drawbacks as well, like black and white thinking, for example, and seeing things as either right or wrong, for example, or you know, it's one way or the other. And sometimes there's like a gray area where there's no like. I think it's like I said, going back to the whole thing of needing some kind of certainty, where it's like it's either is or isn't, and not liking having kind of this kind of unconclusive kind of answer to something. It's like I need to know what it is. It's like when you ask someone, for example, right? Thank you for the follow, Rosemary. You ask someone, okay, do you want to go out such a day, and they're like, oh, I'll let you know, or maybe I'll see what I'm doing. It's like I need to know now. It's like I don't like to just be left wondering because it goes back to the old overthinking. Because it's like I'm the kind of person where I won't settle until I have a definite answer. So that's one of the drawbacks. But sometimes there's like benefits in terms of like we tend to be quite honest, and we don't like it when people are dishonest. No, I'm not looking, Rose. So it's just about kind of yeah, it's just this need for clarity is what I have really. But and I'm not here to try and kind of be like, oh, feel sorry for me and all this. No, I don't care about any of that. I'm just saying that people need to understand where I'm coming from and like I don't know, maybe we can figure something out. I don't know because I mean sometimes it's good to have someone to talk to. I think that does help in some cases where someone that believes in you that they can sort of like be like, yeah, you got this. I think that does help. It's good to have a support network, and we have certain doubts about something, and they're there to kind of just, you know, just give you some clarity. And because sometimes if you can't find it within yourself, then you have to look outside and see if somebody that you can trust in who can give you a sense of certainty about something. And this is what it goes back to the whole thing of limerence, where it's this thing of like where uncertainty in whether the other person feels the same, and that can be very hard to deal with. Hello, Jilly, where you might be really into somebody, and then you end up kind of just going out of your mind because you're worried that they might not be into you. No, not today. It was about nearly a month ago. But anyway, hello, Rachel Nichols. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. So, yeah, I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you? Hello, Roni. How you doing? Um, Thank you for the follow-up, Sarah. You know, um, yeah, right. Anyway, welcome in here, everybody. Hope you've had a great day. Make sure you give me a follow if you're new here. That would be really appreciated. So, like I said, it's just, you know, it is what it is. 'Cause I can't go through my life constantly. Um, Hello, Coco. How you doing? I hope you're well. Hi, Laura. Yeah, just some just like rude people on here, Hello, Coco. Hope you well. You know, it's just they're probably just projecting their own issues. I think a lot of the time, I try to kind of be understanding, and can you feel that? Kind of feel what? Sorry, what do you mean? Anyway, on there, I know there isn't there. It's some real strange people. There's people who just keep coming back all the time and just spamming the chat, and I'm like, why don't you just get a life? You know, like who are these people behind these accounts? Probably just somebody in their mum's basement or something. Like Jennifer, I'm doing fine, thank you. How you doing? It's just funny because someone called me weird the other day, and I'm like, you know, it's just like they're projecting. It's like it's just funny how they called me weird the other day. Somebody did. I'm like, says you, the one that keeps coming into lives and just spamming bullshit. You know, it's just funny how they're the ones that say that. Look who's talking. Oh well, thank you, Jennifer, but this is not a dating app. Anyway, yeah, I just find it quite ironic, that they say that. So yeah. Anyway, is everybody okay then? Hope you had a great day, everybody. Let's get this shared out if you can. It's okay. I never do that, but it's okay. What do you mean? Um, you're very self-aware. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten better at that. I used to be, not so self-aware. Hello, eminent queen. Thank you for following. Yeah, I used to be quite, sort of not very, self-aware. No, I'm trying to get better at like, sort of one thing I'm trying to do is just sort of be more mindful of like how I might come across to other people and like, yeah, all right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good evening to you, eminent queen. Yeah, what's your name, by the way? I'm doing fine, thank you. Just, yeah. The start to the day wasn't the greatest, but I'm trying to just stay positive. Like Claire, hope you well. Hello, Michael. Hope you well. Thank you for joining me tonight. Hello, Marvel was. Hello, Jesus baby. Hope you well, everybody. I'm Gift. My name. Okay, cool. Nice to meet you, Gift. Yeah, but yeah, I try to be more self-aware and be more. Yeah, I've been quite introspective with things and just like realizing my own like faults and stuff and like and why I'm being like that and maybe that might help is like me like I said. So one of the things I need to do sometimes is to to reach out to someone to like get some clarity on things and you know but it is what it is. But at the same time, I don't want to burden people. I don't like to feel like a burden. Hi, Sam. Hope you well. That's the problem. Is I don't want to feel like a burden. Sometimes I feel like I'm burdening people. Thank you for the heartbeat, Sam. But people can feel free to say, what, this is getting too much now. So if they're not gonna tell me that, then well, then if it's getting too much, then well, that's their issue, I guess. If they can't find the courage to just tell me that it's too much or something. It's like when people like trauma dump and things like that on others. I think we've got to be careful, like that we're not just burdening people with our problems and stuff. We've got to make sure that we're just kind of like we're self-aware enough to be able to kind of restrain ourselves a little bit if we're going too far. Things get too intense and just like 'cause you can always get a therapist if you need to, but yeah, thank you for follow more bless, but you gotta be careful when to pick the right one if you're gonna do that because there can be a lot of like scammy ones out there. So um, it's nearing the end of summer and so relieved. Why? Is it you not like the heat or something? But yeah, it's supposed to cool off after this heat wave. It seems to have had about umpteen different heat waves this summer. It's weird. I'm actually doing like the weather just doesn't feel normal these days. And people can say what they want, but but a lot of people will say that it just doesn't really feel normal anymore. Like yeah, summers that we get now, just and the winters, just the weather as a whole just feels, on the whole, I'd say warmer, but a lot more unpredictable as well. Um, from what a lot of people have said from their own, you know, different experiences and things. But yeah, yeah, the heat can get a bit much, but I'd actually haven't minded it a lot. The last couple of days, but yeah, when it was the other day and it was like 31, it got a bit much. But I think it's just I don't know if it's because like I exercise a lot and I get used to the heat from just sweating and stuff. I prefer the grim, cold, and rain. Yeah, but I like it to be sunny though. For me, I think a balance is around spring or autumn where there's still some sunshine, but it's can be nice and cool at the same time, but not too cool kind of thing. Thank you for the follow user. I don't want it to be grey and gloomy and raining. To me, that's just miserable. I don't like that. That can be kind of depressing to me, really. But anyways, everybody okay tonight? Hope you're all well. Make sure you give me a follow if you're new here. Hi, Cynthia. Hope you're well. Yeah, thank you all for being here. Hello, Jennifer. How you doing tonight? Yeah, who's still in here then? Yeah. So maybe I might make some video about the whole like certainty thing, and yeah, I might make a video on the whole limerence thing as well because I think that's an interesting topic. But yeah, hi, Omo Love. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. All right, I'm just getting rid of this Muppet. Uh, anyway, good evening to you, Omo Love. How you doing? Hope you're well tonight. I'm good. That's good to hear then. Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you. Hello, Naomi. Hope you're well. Good evening to you. Hope you've had a great day today. Hi, Lulu. Hello, happiness. Hello, Lovey. How you doing tonight? Hi, main vlog. Oh, small pepper. Yeah. Another thing is that when people have some knowledge on something that they think they know everything, like they've studied, like say they've gotten some qualification. Now they think they know everything, and they're like, they're this authority, and they might have got things wrong. They might have been told things that are like propaganda or something, or just misinformation. It's like people change their minds all the time, right? What was thought to be facts yesterday could be different today and different tomorrow, you know? So we have to always be open to being wrong. And that's the problem when we're getting all this information fed and then we think that that's the truth. But it's just a lot of these people are just not free thinkers and they just think like the everybody else basically. And then people are like, oh yeah, this person's some authority, therefore they must know the answers to it all. So then they just believe everything that they say, which is dangerous. Anyway, what's this? I feel like the Grim Reaper is on my trail just because life is so short. Is lose motivation to. Yeah, I know. It sucks, doesn't it? Like, yeah, yeah. Because I feel like that in the sense of like, what if I don't even live long enough to see it through? I have those. It's like all this overthinking and stuff. Like it's like when people talk about like, oh, it can take 10 years for something to work out. I'm like, well, who knows if I'm even going to be here then, or who knows if my health is going to be good enough to even enjoy success at that point? Because imagine, right? You tried your whole life to become successful, just to then be successful. Let's say you get to 50, 60 years old, and your health is already starting to deteriorate, for example. And yeah, there's things you can do to mitigate it and whatever. But let's just say hypothetically that happens, then okay, well, you just, I don't know. So I can understand the perspective of people. So you could say, well, that might be why people just kind of blow all their money when they're young because, well, when they're old, they're not even going to be able to enjoy it anyway. But anyway, thank you for the follow up, my love. Nothing's guaranteed, even though, yeah, it's not likely that it's going to happen, but, hello, Jennifer, but imagine that your health starts to deteriorate when you get older and then you look back and think, oh, fuck, I should have just spent it whilst I still could enjoy it, you know? Yeah. What's that? When everyone seems so delusional in trying to fit in, how will you get anything accomplished? I know, definitely. Yeah. So, no one was such should think like that. It would make anyone demotivated. Take each day as it comes. Well, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think people should have like 10-year plans and stuff like that because that's just way too far out. Even 5 or 2 year plans, or even a year plan, because anything could happen by then. I think we've got to try and just. What I'm saying is like, thank you for likes, Lily. Small goals daily to build into long-term success. Yeah, yeah. I just don't like this whole. I mean, people go on about like vision boards and stuff like that, and that could be good, but we d- but we don't want to have like deadlines and things like that, and oh, have this thing by a certain day or whatever, because life is quite random and chaotic. And some people like to have a certainty about it. We're going back to the whole need for certainty, but especially just focus on the small actionable goals that you have that are like actionable steps towards those goals. I mean, that way you've got a certain level of clarity there, that something to work towards, um, something to get out of bed for at least. Anyway, so the thing is, if we have hello Dave, hope you well. Um, Even if you had loads of money, doesn't mean you will be happy. Live in the present moment. Well, I was talking about this the other day, but yeah, it doesn't guarantee happiness. If you have the bad mindset to begin with, then it's not going to do much for you. But like, if you don't have gratitude, then money's not really going to do much for you, is it? But money can really sort of like unlock doors, though. If you've got access to enough money, you can travel more, you can have more life experiences and stuff. If you don't have any money at all, then you're going to be quite limited in what you can experience. to me, life is all about having experiences, you know. Because without experiences, what do we have really, you know? You could say, well, you could have love or whatever, but that isn't guaranteed, though, you know. So nothing's guaranteed really, but at least if you've got a certain amount of money, you can just enjoy your life and you can travel, you can, you know, and you don't have to do it. What do you have to worry about? You know, how much money it costs? Because because to me, like when people are going about living comfortably, I think of it in terms of like being able to make any decision, not never have to like worry about where does that money come, where am I, you know, where's my next wage coming from, so to get to fund all that. But also, don't expect anything. Life works in its own way. Jump on your comfort zone and things will happen. Yeah, I know. But yeah, it's just difficult, like I said, with like the overthinking and stuff, and autism spectrum. I think that exacerbates that to some degree, but I don't know. Needed the need for clarity because when I don't have that, then I can't. I struggle to motivate myself because I have to have a reason to do it. And this is why you should just focus on your passion. I think, for especially people who have neural diversity, I think it's even more important for them. But I think for everybody to a degree, because it's like, are you going to be able to ride out the tough times if you don't have a passion for it? Because I think that if you don't have a passion, even if you theoretically could pay more, that you're probably going to drop out before you even make anything because you're just not even going to enjoy it. So you're like, oh, why am I doing this? You know, yeah, yeah, but your awareness of it should get you to do it. Yeah, well, it's this whole thing of procrastination and trying to make excuses in your own mind. I think is the problem, and trying to just find some. I think it comes down to fears and like subconscious fears, and but being aware of that. And like I said, having someone to talk to is important, so they can kind of like they might see something that you don't. Maybe you have a blind spot, and then they can see something, and then they can then point it out. And be like, oh, I think this is the problem. This might be where the problem is. Maybe it's something in your head. Maybe it's this and that, and then they can get you to see something that you didn't see because you were so far in your own head that you couldn't see the wood for the trees, kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, to overcome that, I tend to find that one of the things I do is fitness because I have a certain level of certainty where if I do what I need to do, I do X, Y, and Z, that I get the results. Look, and it's like if you look back at like say a few years ago what I looked like, I've definitely made quite a bit of progress since then. Hello, Grimmy. So it's about sort of just kind of where I do X, Y, and Z, and then I get the result. But if I say there's certain things where there's not that level of yeah, that's a very black and white perspective. But like I said, though, I'm a black and white kind of person. I'm like an all or nothing kind of person, and I tend to either I'm fully into something or I'm not into it at all. I just can't help that. That's just how I am. That's just how I'm made. You know. So yeah, I mean, yeah. It's like, but it's like I said, what the world isn't really designed for people like me because I reckon if the world was designed for neurodivergent people, then we'd probably see a lot more kind of, there'd be a lot more structure and a lot more, there'd be a lot, life would be a lot more mapped out and more, and you could say that that can be boring in a sense, but I mean, not necessarily everything would be mapped out, but it would be like, there would be a level of clarity there where if you wanted to do something, you can get it done, and the system would be designed to help you to make sure that you get the things done that you want to get done. Hi, quick, how you doing? So I just don't really feel like society really accommodates enough for people who need that level of clarity. It's just it is what it is, But some people just can go through life and never think about any of that stuff, never worry about it. But but yeah, I don't know. It's like we could do all the meditation and whatever, but I might try and look into more different things on anyway, I don't know that one, Elena. Anyway, hope everyone's well. I'll be on for about another 15 minutes. If we weren't brainwashed, there wouldn't be any corporate jobs because no one would want to waste their lives on trying to fulfill societal expectations. Yeah, exactly. Interesting to see how if people like me were like, kind of, hello, Jennifer. Well, if the world were run by people like me, for people like me, it would be like basically a lot different. Like I said, there'd be a lot more structure. There'd be a lot more. Um, there'll be a lot more honesty as well. No, sorry, I don't need a reading. There'd be a lot more honesty. There'd be a lot more kind of yeah, there'd be a lot more honesty in the world if we had people like me that that was like kind of like the norm of society, like kind of um if it was designed by people like me. So yeah, I think people are just you know a lot more honest, not deceitful, and not trying to cheat and things like that. Because people like me, we just don't like that kind of stuff, and we don't think it's fair. But it is what it is, It's everyone's going to have their own thoughts on it. But yeah, try not to live in fear. It's fear that keeps you trapped. Yeah, I know that, but it's easier said than done, though, isn't it? That's what I mean. I'm trying to, but it's just thank you for Lexter. Or you can't just switch it up. It's just a certain things. It's like you can't just switch it up. It's like it's easy to say that, but trying to put it into practice isn't so easy, though. Anyway, hi Haley Swales. Hope you're doing well. Hi Rahima. Hope you've had a great day, people. If you're new here, make sure you give a follow. That'd be really appreciated. Hello, OJ. Hope you're well. Hello, it's Hussein. Hello, Sarah Johnson. Hello, Carla. How you doing tonight, everybody? Hope you're all well. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. I know, but you can work on what do you mean? Trying not to not live in fear doesn't work. That's just something people repeat. Not living in fear requires real practices. Yeah, no. Yeah, because it's like when we're trying to do something, when we're trying to not be something, then it can even make things worse because we're giving energy to the thing that we're trying to not be. When you say, "Oh, I'm trying to not be so whatever," then you end up actually making things worse. It's all about trying to just let go and just stop giving energy to the thing, I suppose. So maybe I even just need to stop even saying words like fear and overthinking, because even by saying those words, I'm actually giving it energy. I'm overthinking about overthinking, you know? So, what we're talking about, just talking about some of my own kind of mental blockages and stuff, but I'm trying to just I need to just, yeah, be careful what I'm saying, even trying to do something. I'm trying to blah, blah, blah. Because then in the mind, it's like, it then sees it as like that I have a problem. There's this thing called the law of assumption, and I guess I need to start putting it into practice and just, kind of like assume myself to be a certain way, and then I become that thing. Hi, Pinky. I hope you're well. But it goes into your subconscious where you assume things like, I assume that I'm wealthy or whatever, and then things start to fall into place because my subconscious start to kind of kind of try to figure things out, look for solutions, have faith in your subconscious. But oftentimes we have these programs written into it so that could be part of the problem of, like, we have deep rooted programs in our minds. Thank you for following, Raheem. Hello, call me. All these deep rooted programs like scarcity mindset and things like that, instead of thinking, well, why couldn't I do this? Why couldn't I do blah, blah, blah? Who said I can't? Me? What made me say that? You have to try and get to the bottom of that. And then you could just let go of whatever it is. But you should be challenging things, challenging what it is that, why is it that I'm afraid to do this? What am I afraid of? Failure? Am I afraid of embarrassment? Or am I, depending on what the situation is? Yeah. Anyway, how are we doing tonight, everybody? Welcome in here. Is everybody okay tonight then? Hope you've had a great day. But it's just, yeah, when I'm like overthinking, it's like sometimes I'll overthink about, coming live and what do I say, and then I just end up not really saying much. I should just say what's on my mind, really, and just kind of not give a damn. Thank you for the follow, Romy. I think it's just because I'm trying to please others, and I need to stop doing that. Hello, Emily. Hope you're well. Hello, Nomi. To stop pleasing others and being confident in myself, to know that there will be people who will appreciate what I have to say, whatever it is that I say. It doesn't matter if some people don't like it. That's their problem then. What's that? That's why normies are bad, because they just repeat stuff. They don't actually think for themselves. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for all, Emily. Yeah, they just kind of, they'll say stuff that's just like, it's like you'll get people in, like, say a certain, whether it be health and fitness, and they repeat a bunch of crap because someone else said it, because Jordan Peterson said it, or because Andrew Tate said it, or whatever. And it's like, yeah, they might have a certain experience in that, but then they just go and parrot that themselves. Like, you'll get someone like Andrew Tate going about, "Oh, work-life balance is crap," and then it's like all these people start parroting it like it's, you know, thinking that, hustle culture is great for everybody. It's not. Truth is that for most people, they're just going to end up burning themselves out. As they say, work smarter, not harder. So it's like, we shouldn't be just burning ourselves out, stressing ourselves out. We all need to have downtime. We all need to have time where we just live and just, enjoy life. Give your brain a rest, Just do fun, just to unwind, And actually, at times where you go out and you have experiences in life, that can give you different perspectives on things. You can get different ideas. just come to your mind when that's happening. And if you're just one of these like monk mode people, then that's just you're just gonna become a weirdo and not very relatable, and it's just going to like not gonna do you much of a service in a lot of things. You've got to learn how to like convert customers and stuff, and a lot of that happens through real life encounters because you'll see what people respond to. So by dealing with people in real life, you can then understand sort of how to balance is key. Because it's like there's toxic whenever you're on either end where you've got people who are lazy and then they do nothing, and then on the other end you've got people who are just burning themselves out, so stressed. A lot of people here appreciate what you have to say. You need to find people who can actually have you can actually have good conversations with. You probably be surrounded with boring people in life. Yeah, a lot of people are, yeah, but there has been some good people. Thank you for following Pereira. Yeah, there has been some good people that I've had around me, but it's just I've been in the wrong circles and stuff where it was a bunch of far out conspiracy people. I think it's just that maybe it's just because I found some people that even if they were wrong in what they were believing in, and I kind of believed in some of it at the time, but I just kind of um, at least felt kind of like I was part of some interesting group of people that don't think like the rest. Doing fine, thank you, Bamboo. How are you doing? I don't know, so something maybe drove me to it because I knew I was different, so I like kind of it kind of made me feel even more different. So it gave me a sort of identity, but it's toxic when you start identifying with things like that, you know. So I had to end up taking a step back from it all and just be like, okay, well, you know, what have I got myself involved in here? Oh, sorry, guys. Good evening to you, full of shade. How's it going, Zainab? Yeah, sometimes I'll go live and it's like I just feel like people wouldn't be interested in the things that I talk about, but that's their problem then if they're not interested. Yeah, the right people will stick around because they say if you try and please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody. It's probably better to try and find a niche where they're like super interested in what you're doing, rather than trying to just appeal to like a bunch of NPCs who don't give a damn. Yeah, thank you for the follow, Shade. Because a lot of these people probably wouldn't end up supporting you anyway, because they're just probably quite fickle people who just go on to the next trend or whatever, and they'll just forget about you. So yeah, um, what's that? And that made you think that you were the problem, which made you overcompensate with people pleasing. Yeah, that's what I've come to realize. Really, it's that I'll be trying to like overcompensate and trying to just, you know, just kind of end up being boring, basically. Because I'll be like, what am I gonna do? Because I'm like, just become like just everybody else and just, oh, hey, how's your day going? Just start talking small talk, and that would just burn you out because you'd just be like, kind of, yeah. But the thing is a lot of times when people get burnt out, they think that they're the problem, and that's not good because oftentimes it's the people around you that's the problem. Hello, Jessica. Hope you well. Or just your circumstances in life that are the problem that you need to like sort out. But the mistake that people make is that they think it's them that's the problem when really, they're not. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just, you know, that you just get around the wrong bunch of people or whatever, or and you just end up feeling like, you know, like trying to please everybody and trying to balance so many things, and it can be quite sort of disheartening and just yeah. Thank you for the follow favorite. Yeah, but people pleasing sucks, you know. And you're worried that whatever you do, that people will just, oh, thank you for the Gold boxing gloves user. Okay, nice one. Hi Beauty, how you doing? It doesn't look like that user account's come back, is it? The other one. Yeah. It's just that I would start to get into like a kind of crisis, and then I would like break down. But they say no smoke without fire. It's like when you see people like what they call crashing out or whatever, or freaking out. Oftentimes there was things going on way before that that build up to that point that that's made them react that way. I've been through the exact same thing. What's that? Sorry, about the people pleasing thing. But there's certain things I just wouldn't do though to people please. If I have a certain conviction with something, I'm not going to. That could be one of the good things about autism, where you just like you have this conviction where it's like you nothing will make you change. Nothing that anybody will say will convince you. I didn't even realize that I was tired because of how bored I was with people. Yeah. Was it tiredness or was it just lethargy? Because oftentimes people conflate tiredness and lethargy when really they're actually two different things. I think lethargy is just just a sense of like, you know, apathy and just like boredom. It's like sometimes we'll start yawning when we're tired, or we can yawn when we're bored. So it's like the brain can't even tell the difference between like being bored or being tired. It's like they're very similar kind of feelings, I guess. Um, I didn't even realize that. Oh yeah, both what? Sorry. Thank you for the follow, Lolo. But I guess it depends on like if you're not getting enough sleep and things like that, or stressing yourself out, then that can lead to tiredness. But oftentimes people are not tired at all. They're just because the people that do nothing all the time, then they haven't actually built up any sleep pressure. But because they're like, just like sat down everything all the time, they're not doing anything. Then they're just kind of yeah, they have all this lethargy that's built up because of their mitochondria shut down, their brain shuts down, everything just shuts down. But yet they can't get to sleep. But like oftentimes lethargic isn't a symptom of being tired, but rather um, I mean because someone could just if you've been in office all day, you have that sense of lethargy and that. How's it going, Samantha Jane? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining me tonight. Hi Jean, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Like I said, a lot of it's from like apathy and just kind of a sense of just thank you for the follow, Jean. Just kind of like unenthusiasm at life, and that makes you feel burnt out. And yeah, being tired can exacerbate those feelings. I've just done 3 12-hour shifts in a row this week. Oh, blimey. Oh, God. But yeah, it's just about kind of trying to understand the difference between those two things. Are you tired or are you just lethargic? You can tell it which one it is probably if say that, like I say, if you're getting not, you're not working out really super hard, and if you're just doing like stuff at the office all day, then chances are you're lethargic. Yeah, thank you for the follow, Dodge. How you doing? Nice to meet you. Hope you've had a great day. Fines, thank you for the likes. Um, yeah, think feminism creates a lot of confusion. Can you explain more about that? I don't know how that's got anything to do with that, but I was talking about the whole lethargy thing and about the whole thing of apathy and a lot of men just kind of deciding to kind of just give up on all that, and then they have no purpose because a lot of men's purpose was based on like kind of you know finding the right woman, having settling down, having a family. But then a lot of men are finding it these days that that's just hard to get now because of strong, independent women and all that. The problem is a lot of these women end up getting later on in life, and then they're like, actually, you know what, maybe I could do with a man, but then by then it might be too late. So yeah, yeah, well, we're getting off in a couple of minutes, I think. We'll be all right then. Hi, Caleb. Hope you're well. Yeah, so I'll probably get off in a second, guys, but I might just play one more song and then get off. All right. Hello, everybody. All right, guys. Hope you've had a great day. But yeah, no, it's just yeah, men always thought to kiss women ass and also overlook their bad behavior, so it makes you vulnerable to manipulation. Yeah, and then if you yeah, because if as a man you're like kind of you don't do that, then you're seen as toxic. But then it's all right when they do it to you, you know. There is kind of like a double standard there, I find, where men are shamed for like bad behavior, narcissism, and things like that. But yet, when women do it, oftentimes you know, they're kind of seen to be like justified in it. I'm not saying that happens all the time, but it's just this feminist society where it's like they assume that the woman's, you know, always innocent. Basically, it's like even things like say DVs and stuff like that, where I think there's a lot of underreporting in like how many times a woman is responsible for it because it's kind of taboo to actually like to accuse a woman of doing it when it happens so much more than you might think, and abuse can happen in different forms. Yes, exactly. You get what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not one of these manosphere kind of people though. I'm not like Andrew Tate or Fresh and Fit or any of these kind of people because I think that they're also putting out a toxic message. But I think that the problem is that men need to stop simping for these women because they don't even respect you anyway when you're like that. Like it's just kind of like if you want a woman to actually like love you and respect you, then you got to show her that you're not going to put up with her shit. Because if you show her that that you're a pushover and that then she's going to be like, because I'm like, it's like if you don't respect yourself, then how can you get anyone else to respect you? That's kind of how I'm seeing it, really. So I don't think it's a good idea to just constantly be buying stuff for a woman and then getting nothing in return. You know, like Richard, I hope you well. We should be just like kind of prioritizing ourselves and then only giving things to those that have shown that they deserve it. Yeah, what's that? It's completely taboo to even criticize what a woman says or does, which makes everything they say or do automatically true. yeah, which is obviously bullshit because they're oftentimes they're wrong, you know. But yeah, um, yeah, it's so annoying when people act as though everything that they say is true, even when it's blatantly wrong. It's so annoying that, but yeah, where they just won't have it kind of thing, and it's like, yeah, you just like talking out your ass, but it's like they just won't have it. Anyway, but, it is what it is, it's just, right. So, yeah, is everybody okay then? Hello, Shell, hope you're well tonight. I was wondering where you'd been, Richard, but yeah, better late than never, eh? So, but yeah, going forward, like, Vinci, how's it going? Then, you know, is there really any future in the dating thing, because, yeah, there's a lot more and more trust issues now with, like, more and more cheating going on, more and more, just disrespect stuff. So, but oftentimes, like I said, you have to like look in the mirror and think, okay, do I have what it takes to be with this person and have them stay faithful? Because if you don't, then you're watching a film. Oh yeah, what did you watch? Um, it's so refreshing hearing your insightful responses. Oh well, thank you. So we have to look at ourselves because what is it that motivates somebody to go out and cheat on you? Because I don't think most people would do that unless there's something seriously wrong. Maybe they're and I don't necessarily think it's a good idea, but I can see why people do it if they feel like, oh, Thompson, they don't want to just straight up leave that thing because they need to know that the grass is greener on the other side. It goes back to the whole thing of clarity and the need for, like, they would need to know that they're getting a better deal somewhere else before jumping off the ship because they might have been doing something for a while. They've had that stability there, but then over time they've seen that things aren't working out really. There isn't. There might be like one-sided and what have you, but yeah. Um, okay, to you, Victor. Yeah, how are you doing, Thompson? So it's about kind of, but the thing is, though, you might be like, oh, but you haven't had much experience in this, so therefore you can't talk about it. But I'm talking from like the point of view of like, of like kind of practicality and what works, because I have quite a smart brain and I can understand concepts and that how things work to a certain degree, and I think I have certain value to like. I find it kind of annoying that people would kind of dismiss what I'm saying just on the fact that I haven't got enough experience or something. And like I said, sometimes experience can also work against you because that can give you um, a biased opinion on something, and that can then skew your perceptions, and then you can get into echo chambers where you all, that can then get dangerous, and you can then start preaching things that are not actually objectively true. Maybe things happen to you, but then doesn't mean that that's the case for everybody. Like, for example, say, "Oh, I've had this experience with this woman, therefore all women are sluts." Well, okay, but where did you get that from? Just a bunch of like this echo chamber, but it's just horror until dawn. Oh, cool. So you like your horror films, don't you? Yeah. So like, it's just about kind of like I said, someone could have a lot of like, where they've experienced something, but yeah, like Sydney, but that doesn't make it objectively true. I think anecdotal evidence. Well, they say anecdotal evidence is like the lowest form because it's like kind of it's just testimonials. It's not based on any actual like data, like objectively speaking. And yeah, but I just think that we need to be careful what we what we believe to be true. You might have an experience with something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's true, or at least not true for everybody. You kind of sound like he's the butler is from Birmingham. All right, well, I don't have a Birmingham accent, still I, you know, but yeah, I mean just the way I'm talking in terms of not the accent, but more the like Fidel, thank you for the likes. How you doing? I hope you're well tonight. Yes, it's all about kind of we just need to become like aware of these things, aware of um, that we don't know everything, and that we just have to kind of yeah. Anyway, try and keep an open mind, really. But that's like I said, that's the thing that I struggle with is like uncertainty. Uh, I always want to kind of have like a yes or no answer to things. So I understand why people want to just kind of put out their answer like it's kind of dating apps are not a good way to meet new people. Yeah, I don't think they are either. I might make some more content on that actually, Drowy, because I made some on my old account and they did pretty well. So but yeah, dating apps because haven't people been trying to like use them for like friends or something? It's just kind of odd because like 'cause apparently like people will put like a Tinder account or something and be like for friends only. It's like what you want about like you put on it, you got yourself on a dating site and you want to use that to make friends. Like, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, people are just basing it on like superficial things, like where they see a few paragraphs on a profile and then they make a judgment. But oftentimes people don't even read the bio of somebody. I agree. I also want a yes or no answer. That's why I say like if I'm asking somebody, so are we meeting then? And it's like, oh, maybe I'll think about it. I can't be doing with that. Because so what I think like the best thing to do in that yeah, that's the problem, Drowy, isn't it? What I'd say in that instance, maybe the best thing to do is if somebody says maybe, take it as a no, because that way you don't get invested in any kind of like uncertain answer. When someone says maybe, just take it as a no, because even if they do genuinely are considering something, then if then turn around and say yes, then that's a bonus kind of thing. But then at the same time, I don't know, it couldn't be. But then the problem is that what if it's at the last minute they then say, "Oh yeah, let's meet up or something," for example. Then yeah, maybe is usually no. Yeah, yeah, like our power. It's like I don't know why people can't just say no because it's just like a lot of people don't want to let you down, but it's probably best to just kind of say, just think of it as a no. But the problem is that if then someone at the last minute says, "Oh yeah, let's do this, let's meet up for whatever reason or whatever," then I struggle with things just being dropped on me, at last minute. Oftentimes, if someone tells me, "Oh, let's do this thing at last minute," I tend to just kind of not do it because I like to kind of have time to kind of have mentally prepare for something. You know what I mean? So that's the trouble, really. Yeah, 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 but yeah, dating apps are not very good for that. But yeah, TikTok's definitely not good for that. You just find a bunch of weirdos, really. But anyway, yeah, I agree. That's so true when someone says maybe just take it as a no and move on. But then what if someone then says, actually, let's do such a thing? But yeah, but then it's like, I don't know. Anyway, is everything all right? People's go further, they may be getting worse or partners since men give up. Yeah, that's the thing where like, yeah, good men end up giving up, which then just like means that the dating pool is just a bunch of like toxic men. Because oftentimes the good men end up just being rejected by these apps, and then women will be like, "Oh, where are all the good men at?" Well, it's because they just rejected them oftentimes because maybe they were not 6 foot tall or whatever it might be, whatever reason on these dating apps. But they probably wouldn't have rejected them for that reason in person, though. But dating apps means that women can reject men based on a whole bunch of criteria that is just ridiculous. Because he's 5'11", not 6 foot. So that 1 inch was the determining factor of whether she sees him as a partner or not. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, toxic guys are tenacious and don't care about rejection. Haha. Yeah, probably because they're like, yeah, they probably don't. They're not sensitive. That's why. Whereas the good guys might be more sensitive and more, they tend to be a bit more, yeah, size matters on dating apps. So it's just ridiculous, isn't it? People these filtering out guys that are below 6 foot tall. The problem with doing that is that they might have missed out on a better opportunity because this guy was 5'11" or 5'10", whatever, and because he wasn't quite 6 foot, that made her not go for him. But he might have had a better personality. He might have had just better all round. Like so, that 1 inch of height difference that that was the only thing that set him apart, and then everything else he had going for him that didn't matter with the other guy that was one in. Just think about how ridiculous that sounds, that they've sacrificed all the other stuff just for a guy who's got, let's say everything else is equal, like with the looks or whatever, you know, but an inch taller, and she went. It's just you could say I'm being a bit hyperbolic, but you get what I'm saying, right? Sacrificing everything else for a little boost in height or something, you know? Is that really worth it? It would be like me, for example, let's say you've got 2 women, both of them are pretty attractive, but one of them's got some maybe a bit of acne or something. They're both pretty, like, attractive, but one of them's got a bit of acne, they're a bit or they might have some skin blemishes or something, or they might have acne scars, and then I chose the one with the perfect skin, even though they're both relatively attractive. But because the one, yeah, but because they have the perfect looks or whatever. But that person with the, this acne scars or whatever, but they had a better personality. They had you know, it's just to me, it's just ridiculous. Toxic guys have narcissistic qualities, so they blame women if they get rejected. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, unfortunately, many women are attracted to this fake confidence. Yeah, because oftentimes they don't understand the difference between real confidence and fake confidence. Oftentimes they're just putting on this persona of like, you know, yeah. This is why so many men are attracted to like the red pill and the manosphere because it teaches men how to be this fake alpha male that they then feel like it's in their control to be like this kind of, because men want to feel in control, so they look for like hacks to feel in control of your dating life. So I understand why men do it, but at the same time, you're just damaging more women by doing that. It's just damaging like women because then they're like, you know, because all these experiences they've had where it's like a bunch of toxic men, then anytime there's actual decent man, then they're gonna then be like, oh well, is it? Yeah, if he starts acting nice, she's gonna think there's something wrong with that guy. Why is this guy acting so nice? You know, because it seems kind of foreign. It's like, why is he acting nice? Why did all the other ones act horrible? This guy seems too good to be true. Like he's a nice guy, but he's not too nice. But he's just a good enough kind of guy. He's just a fair guy. He just does everything by the book and and he's got a lot going for him. But I just feel like but there is also the case where some women have had some issues, like maybe it could be like childhood issues or whatever, and they're used to abuse. Therefore, they struggle to have like normal relationships where it's like where they find a wholesome guy. By the time people change their minds, I don't have the time anymore. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it? When people change their minds on like things like that, yeah. Yeah, and you're just already moved on with things. So yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Because then let's say you ask them, "Hey, let's meet up on a certain day." It's like because then I might make another plan for that day. Because like I need to know, like otherwise I want to be able to make plans for that day potentially, and yeah, I don't get how confidence makes you not attracted to someone. When I like someone, I always see through their confidence into who they really are. It doesn't change my feelings for them. Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. You thought you like I get like yeah, but yeah. I'll be getting off after this song, guys. But yeah, this fake confidence is just like well, oftentimes a lot of these guys just get drunk. They're just these really like loud drunk guys who just have no like concept of right and wrong, bit pretty much. And they probably drink that much that they're never really sober, if you know what I mean. It makes me think those women are dumb as F. I mean, I don't want to be nasty or anything, but I think it's just like the problem is that oftentimes these women don't have the best friends and they don't really have the best kind of role models to look up to in a lot of cases where a lot of these women will just kind of be around other women who are just quite ignorant, you could say, and just kind of and they're just kind of deluding each other into like certain things, saying, "Oh, you don't settle for anything below, you know, Prince Charming or whatever." But you're not living in the real world. But they all just delude each other, you know. That's the problem, I think. Is, is that they're just all like kind of they create these echo chambers, just like the guys at the what Red Pill. They have these echo chambers, and it's just ridiculous. Some people are allowed dates well as can't. Yeah, yeah. Some people find it difficult because they've not learnt the skills, but or they're anxious or things like that. But yeah, yes, I agree with you, Jamie. Yeah, yeah. So these circles, like, but oftentimes they say like something like single women keep single women single, because when it's the same with men as well. I think as well because oftentimes people don't want to see the other person doing better than them, which is sad. So I think they want to fix these guys, which might represent copying their home dynamic and parents. Yeah, but it's just delusional, isn't it? It's like it's like me wanting to fix some slut or something. I'm like, I just feel like that I can't fix them. It's just I don't know, like you shouldn't be going into a relationship trying to fix somebody, trying to change somebody. Oftentimes that's just the way they are, but it's just a delusion that they've got because they're so infatuated with them that they look past all the bad stuff. They're like, oh well, yeah, you know what I mean. Thank you for the show, G Nice. So yeah, it's just you gotta be careful who you surround yourself with. Oh, thank you. You gotta be careful who you surround yourself with because some people will just try and keep you down. Are they actually supportive? If you're around a bunch of miserable, lonely kind of people, then they're gonna keep you like that. They say misery loves company. So, Emma, hello, how you doing? That's why I don't have a big group of friends, and none of my friends know each other, right? Yeah, because then you don't have all this like gossip and rumors and things like that, of just groups, and it saves all the drama. So I think that's a good idea where you just have like the odd friends that you just kind of you don't really kind of get too invested in any of them, and because otherwise you're just gonna end up, involved in their lives and stuff. Yes, I have a lot of individual friends and a mix of men and women, right? Um, Confidence doesn't make the person, but people think it does because you gotta be social and drink alcohol to be considered normal. Yeah, I know, but alcohol gives you fake confidence. It's just yeah, it's like a facade, really. To me, like, you could argue that real confidence is about being yourself and not giving a damn what anybody else thinks. Being not afraid you know, to break the mold of society and just, kind of do whatever the hell you want, really. That's a true rebel, someone who is courageous enough to step out of norm. You don't care what other people think of you, that you're some weirdo or something like that. But yet, all these people that want to fit in so much, how are they confident? They're not, are they? They're they're cowards, I would say, actually. Made new friends in college, but then I had to leave college. College wasn't for me. Yeah, I didn't really make a lot of friends at college, but if anything, a lot of people just probably laughed at me, really. But yeah, I tell you, it was a crazy experience I had at college where like I actually got with this girl for a bit, but I actually told this group about it, and then this girl in this group, she was just really nasty, and she was saying something like, "Oh, she must have to be blind to see anything in you," or something like that. Just or I don't know, something like that. But then I think the next time I saw them, then she was saying, "Oh, what are you even doing hanging around with us?" So it just seemed as though as soon as I started saying something about like something that I was happy about at the time that I'd gotten with somebody that they then she then just suddenly turned on me. Everything seemed all right up to that point, and then suddenly, you know, yeah, what people say is a reflection of themselves. They are wounded. Yeah, I know. So I'm trying not to like, look back and look and be like, okay, maybe that person was dealing with some of their own issues. So I don't like hate on the person. I think you have to learn to forgive and just have the understanding of like I don't know like what you've been through and what you're feeling. So yeah, I mean it's not an excuse or anything, but you can sort of like try to empathize really. But anyway, get rid of this person. I don't think I've seen that Smiler today. I don't know. I've seen that. Was it Bobby Kerr? He pretty much comes in every day and just spams the chat. There's a few of them that keep on spamming the chat, isn't there? You know, why do they keep coming back every day? You know. Anyway, it's a fine line between understanding and knowing when to set boundaries. I find. Yeah, yeah. No, hello, Nikhil. Hope you well. Hey man, just wanted to say from what I've seen, you seem like a really good dude. Oh, thank you, Ben. Well, I'm trying, but yeah. When I broke up with my ex, all the girls in my social group started coming onto me like clockwork. It made me cringe for how brainwashed they are. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Emma. Yeah, it's this thing. It's a thing called pre-selection or something. It's like I don't know. It's like the thing of like when they see that you've had this girl and then it suddenly makes you more attractive or something, and it's just um, yeah, where it's like now you're on the market, now they're all flooding to you, like you're in high demand now because they're seeing that. Oh well, now is it's just yeah. So they're not necessarily going after you because they genuinely are interested in you, but more just in terms of like something is now available, but probably not for very long. Yeah, it's all fake. Yeah, it's like when people. It's like when people sort of only got with you for money. So that's a problem where you have all this money, but then you'd be afraid to show your wealth because what if they just want me for my money and they don't genuinely have interest in me? So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get going, guys. I'm a little bit tired actually. So all right. So yeah, everybody take care. I'll see you all tomorrow. So all right. Peace out, everybody. Bye for now. Oh, all right. YouTube. Yeah, you watch that. Yeah. So you take care as well.